Hi, my name is Nikipirowicz and welcome to Crochet Sock tutorial for West Yorkshire Spinners. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make my brand new design for West Yorkshire Spinners with the brand new Christmas colorway of Signature 4-ply. These are fantastic crochet socks which are very quick to make. For this tutorial you will need the yarn, of course, which is the Yuletide colorway of Signature 4-ply, 3mm crochet hook or size big or small enough to obtain the tension, small scissors, and 2 stitch markers, easily removable stitch markers in red and green. And of course the pattern you can download for free from West Yorkshire Spinners website. So let's get started. So in this tutorial I'll be using UK terminology with US conversions given in the abbreviation list in the pattern. There is not many stages to know. As long as you know double crochet in UK and single crochet in US, you'll be absolutely fine. These socks are incredibly simple to make. They are cuff down design, which means we start at the cuff and we finish on the toes, and the afterthought heel is worked at the end when we finish the actual socks. We've got few increases and few decreases placed here to give us ample space around the heel. We will start with the ribbing, which is worked in rows, and then we move on to our sock, which is worked in rounds. And our sock, the leg and the foot is worked into the back loop of every single stitch. In this tutorial I'll be working on the smallest size of the sock, but of course this technique applies to every single size. So let's get started with the sock. We're going to start our sock with the ribbing, which, as I mentioned before, is worked in rows. We're going to start with 11 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And now starting from the second chain from hook, we're going to work a double crochet. That's UK double crochet, US single crochet. In and pull it through both. Into the chain, grab your yarn, 2 loops on hook and pull it through. So this is the stitch that we will use throughout the sock. It's a simple double crochet stitch, it's very quick. So we're going to work into every single chain. And that will give us 10 stitches. So we're going to turn, chain 1, and now we're going to work into the back loop of every single stitch. So when you look at your stitch has 2 legs. It's got a front leg and a back leg. So we're going to work into the back leg. So we're going to insert our hook under the back leg of the stitch, grab a yarn and pull it through, 2 loops on hook, yarn around the hook and pull it through both. See, easy peasy. And again into the back leg of every single stitch, all the way to the end. So that's our second row complete, and again turn, chain 1, and again double crochet into back loop of every single stitch. See, there's nothing fancy. The ribbing is very easy to make. So this row has to be repeated certain amount of times in total. Because I am making the smaller size, for me it will be 40, for a medium is 44, and for a large is 48. So we will repeat this row until we have, for me again, 40 rows in total. For you it's depending on whichever size you have chosen. Okay, so let's get this done, and I see you when we've got all the rows needed for our next step. Just a quick tip when you're making your ribbing: the easiest way to count your rows. So place your ribbing on the right side. You know it's a right side if the edge curves towards you and also your beginning tail is to your left. So each ridge is 2 rows. So 2, 4, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and so on. See, so 1 ridge equals 2 rows. Also, please do count your stitches every now and again as you're making your ribbing. So when you finish your ribbing, your work should look like this. You see, so you just have a strip of ribbing, and we're going to end with the right side facing for next row. So now we are going to seam our cuff. So with right side facing, fold it in half so the 2 ends are meeting. Chain 1, which I already done, and now we're going to go work into the back loop of the first half, and we're going to slip stitch into the back of the beginning chains of the other half. Yarn around the hook and pull it through all those stitches. So we're going to slip stitch into the back loop. So we're going to slip stitch all the way through. So back loop, back of the chain. Grab your yarn, pull it through all those stitches. See, do this all the way. So now our cuff is seamed. See? And now we are ready to move on onto our leg. To start our leg, we're going to work into the raw ends of our ribbing. I'm going to enclose this tail here because it just saves me weaving it in. We're going to start with chain 1, and we're going to work 2 stitches more than the ends. So for me, I've got 40 rows. I'm going to work 42 double crochets, and for each size is 2 more. I'm going to start to work the raw ends. You see, if you look at your rows, this is 1 row, this is the second row. So I'm going to insert 1 stitch into each of those rows. So 1, I'm going to place my stitch marker because I want to denote the beginning of my round. 2, and then I'm gonna work 2 here. So I'm going to work 2 here and 2 on the other side. So I'm going to increase by 2 here and 2 on the other side. So that will give me the 42. So I'm going to work 2 double crochets into this stitch, and then 1 until I'm ready to do 2 again. You see, you are just working into the ends of the rows. See, there's nothing to it really. So 1 in each one, and then 2 double crochet into 2 of those ends. I think I'm halfway through. Yeah, I'm halfway through. So I will work 2 here. So that will be my second increase. And then 1 in each row to the ends. I always like to, even though we're going to work in continuous spiral, I still like a marker there, purely because I like to denote the beginning of my round. I don't like just working, you know, without any guidance, I suppose. And that's the last one. So now we should have enough stitches to give us the width of our leg. So count all your stitches and we are ready to start on the leg. I would recommend keeping the stitch marker in place all the way because it will help you with your increases. So basically you move it up every single round. So we are ready to start our round of our leg. So we will work into the back loop of every single stitch. Again, nothing fancy, just simple double crochet into the back loop of every single stitch. So enter it into the, you see, so you've got the front leg and the back leg, into the back leg of the stitch and work your normal double crochet, WYS single crochet. Replace your marker and do this all the way around. So when we when we come to the end of round, we will not slip stitch to join the round. We will not chain one at the beginning. We're working in a continuous spiral, but we do have the marker. I do recommend using the marker to denote the beginning of your round. So this is our round 2 of our leg. So we need to repeat round 2 3 more times. So altogether with the very first round, we will have 5 rounds in total. And I see you back here when the 5 rows are done. So when we finish our 5 rows in totals, our work should look like this. And if you give it a bit of a stretch, you see double crochets in back loop has a beautiful stretch to it, which is ideal for crochet socks. Obviously, we don't want our socks to be huge. We want them to fit well around our foot. And to fit well, we don't want them to be very, very loose. Crochet fabric stretches as well. So don't worry if it looks a bit tight. We're going to place increases to give us ample space around the heel, and then we would decrease back. So again, don't worry if you think like, oh, this is a bit too small. Try it on first. When you get to your heel part, try it on and see how it feels. But for now, we're going to work on our first round of increases. I'm going to show you how to work these increases, and then you can do the other ones yourself. So take off your stitch marker. We're going to work 2 double crochets into the very first stitch, into the back loop, of course. So 1, I'm going to replace my marker, and then the second one into the same stitch. Then work 1 double crochet into the back loop to the half of the sock, which you have given the exact number in the pattern. For me it's 20, so I'm going to work 20 double crochets into the back loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I am halfway through it from where I started, and we're going to place another increase here. So 2 double crochets into the back loop, and then 1 double crochet into every stitch to end. And that is our first round of increases. So our stitch count should go up by 2. So I started with 42, so I should have 44. And again, the pattern will tell you exactly what is the finished number of stitches that you should have for your size. So our first round of increases is finished. Now what we are going to work is 6 rounds of just 1 double crochet into the back loop of every single stitch. So simple and easy. Then we're going to have another round of increases, which will bring our stitch count by 2 again. So for me, it will be 46 stitches. Then after the second round of increases, we're going to work 8 rounds in just double crochet into the back loop. So I would like you to finish all of this. So work through the pattern, and I will see you back here when we are ready to separate for heel. So when we have completed the leg, our work should look like this. So at the moment, all the increases and all the rows have been worked, and we should have, for the small size, 46 stitches, for the medium 50, and for the large one 54. And we are ready for separating for the heel. The heel is worked on half the number of stitches. So we will create opening for the afterthought heel. We will miss half the number of stitches of the sole, and then work on the top of the foot here. Okay, so let me just work the stitch with the marker. Just take this off. Work 1 double crochet into the back loop here. Replace the marker, and now we are ready for our chainless foundation. So for me, because I have 46 stitches, I will create 23 chainless foundation double crochets. So to create your chainless foundation, you have to chain 2. So you're going to work into the bump at the back of the very first chain you have made. So this is the bump here. So insert your hook into the bump, yarn around the hook and pull it through the bump only, then yarn around the hook through 1 loop and yarn around the hook through both. So that is our first chainless foundation double crochet made. Now we're going to insert a hook into this strand here. You see, so you're placing your chains, your stitches, or well, it's stitches actually, on the side, and you see there is one chain here and there is one just behind it. So we're going to insert a hook under those two loops at the back of our stitch. Yarn around the hook and pull it through. Two loops and hook, yarn around the hook, pull it through one, and yarn around the hook, pull it through two. That's, you see, our second chainless double crochet made. And again, into this strand and the one behind it. So we're working basically at the back of the stitches. Yarn around, pull it through, two loops and hook, yarn around the hook through one, and yarn around the hook through two. The reason we are working chainless foundation double crochet, because it will give us nice and soft and stretchy edge, and that's what we want on our socks. Okay, so I have to make 23 of those. You make as many as you wish. You make as many as you need or wish. Yeah. Perfect. So let's count all our double crochet foundation and see if we've got the correct number. Perfect. I've got 23 as I should. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to miss 23 stitches and work a double crochet into the back loop into the 24th stitch. For your size, it will be written in a pattern. So I'm going to work into the double crochet into the back loop here, making sure actually that the chainless foundation is not twisted at all, so it's nice and straight. So now I'm going to work double crochet into the back loop into every stitch to end. So these stitches now are the top of my foot. Perfect. And one stitch with the stitch with the marker. Okay, so now we are ready for the foot part. So we will work one double crochet into the back loop of every stitch to end. So we're working one double crochet into the back loop of every stitch of the chainless foundation. See, because the chainless foundation gives us a beautiful row of double crochet, so it's very easy to just work straight away in the pattern. Oopsie daisy. So that's done, and now we are working into our stitches, double crochet into the back loop of the stitches of the top of our foot. Okay, and one in here. So that's the end of our round. Count all your stitches that you have the correct number. Now I would like you to work 3 more rounds of one double crochet into the back loop of every single stitch, and then we will move on to our decreases. So now that we have worked our 3 rounds, we are ready for our first round of decreases. So basically we are going to now work 2 rounds of decreases spread out to bring us back to our original number of stages that we had when we started our sock. So the first of the 2 rounds of decreases is now, and we're going to work double crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches. So, and again into the back loop of the stitches. So insert your hook into the first stitch, into the back loop of the first stitch, grab your yarn and pull it through. You've got 2 loops and hook. Insert your hook into the back loop of next stitch, grab your yarn and pull it through, 3 loops on hook, yarn around the hook and pull it through all 3. So that's our first double crochet 2 together into the back loop. Replace your mark on that stitch, and now again we're going to work half of our stitches, double crochet into the back loop and work our decreases on the other side. So we have to work, for my size, which is the smaller size, it will be 21, for medium 23, and for large 25 double crochets into the back loop. Okay, so we are on the other side, and again we have to work double crochet 2 together into the back loop. So into the first stitch, into the back loop of the first stitch, grab your yarn and pull it through, 2 loops on hook, into the back loop of the next stitch, grab your yarn and pull it through, 2 loops on hook, 3 loops on hook, yarn around the hook and pull it through all 3. So that's our second decrease, and now double crochet into the back loop into every single stitch to our stitch marker. So now we're at the end. So our stitch count should be 2 stitches less. For me it will be 44, for a medium 48, and for a large 52 stitches. So now we will work 5 rounds of double crochet into the back loop. Then we will work 1 more row of decreases, which will bring us to 42, 46 and 50 stitches. And then we will work into the back loop of every single stitch until our work measures, for a small size it's 11 centimeters, for medium 13, and for large 15, from the start of the chainless foundation row here. So continue onto your foot following the pattern, and I will see you back here when we are ready to start working on the toes. So now that your foot is completed, we are ready to start on the decrease for the toes. So before we start, lay your sock down with the heel opening facing you. So you've got a heel opening here. Make sure it's nicely straight. So this is, we're going to position our toe correctly, because our toes have to be in a correct position, otherwise they won't be straight. So the opening is nicely centered. I've got too many stitches, so I'm going to go back by 1, because I want my stitch to be perfectly in line with the start of my heel opening. So I'm going to place my red marker on that stitch here, and now I am ready to start on my toe decreasing. Now for toes we will work in double crochet into the full stitch, so we will not work into the back stitch anymore, but a full stitch, so both legs of the whole stitch. So we're going to start with double crochet 2 together. So insert your hook under the full stitch, grab your yarn and pull it through, 2 loops on hook, into the next stitch, grab your yarn and pull it through, 3 loops on hook, then yarn around the hook and pull it through all 3. So that's our first decrease. So now what we have to do is work into the other half, work decreases, place a stitch marker and work decreases. So we basically, and then we're going to work straight to 2 stitches before the first marker and place a decrease here. So basically on every other round we're going to be decreasing by 4 stitches, okay, but they're going to be on each side. So our toes, if I show you on this sock, our toes are nicely shaped, you see, so we want this beautiful shape here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to work 1 double crochet into next 16 stitches. This is for my size. It's 18 stitches for middle size and 20 for the large size, but for the smallest size is 16 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So 16 stitches, and we're going to work double crochet 2 together again, 1 double crochet, and we're going to place a green marker on that stitch, so that will denote the other half of our sock. So we've got 2 sides, and now double crochet 2 together again, and now 1 double crochet into every single stitch to last to before the red marker. So we're going to stop when we've got 2 stitches available before the red marker. Oops, daisy. Let's pull this in a little bit. So now we've got 2 stitches, and we're going to work double crochet 2 together. And we are now back at the beginning of our round, you see? So we've got stitch markers on each side. So we're going to be decreasing on each side of the stitch markers every other round. Our next round is just a plain round, which means we don't decrease, we just work double crochet into every single stitch, moving the markers up as we go. So we're going to remove this one, work a double crochet into that stitch, and replace the red marker, and repeat that on the other side as well. So work double crochet all the way around until you reach the beginning of your round, which is your red marker. So now that our plain round is done, we are ready for another decrease round. So we're going to work 1 double crochet into the stitch with the red marker, replace the marker, double crochet 2 together, and work 1 double crochet into every stitch to 2 stitches before the green marker. Okay, so we've got 2 stitches here, and we're going to double crochet 2 together. Remove the marker, work double crochet into that stitch, and replace the green marker. And now again, double crochet 2 together, and work 1 double crochet into every single stitch until you reach 2 stitches before the red marker. There we go, 2 stitches, and we're going to double crochet 2 together. Perfect. So you can see now, oh, let me just take out this marker. You can see now how our work is starting to kind of shape now. So our toes are shaping. Repeat those 2 rows, so plain row followed by a decrease row, plain row followed by a decrease row, until you have 22 stitches left altogether. And I will see you back here when we're going to sew up our toe opening. So when you finish all the decreases, your toe should look like this. So now we are ready for sewing up. So you can remove all the markers now. Cut your yarn, giving yourself a good length. Pull the loop through. So now grab your end, grab a tapestry needle, feed it through, And what we're going to do is turn the sock inside out. Make sure you position the opening in line with your heel opening, so our toes are sewn up in a correct way. We're going to use a whip stitch by going through both legs of the stitch. So insert your needle, not your hook, sorry. Your needle under the 2 strands and onto the other side. Pull it through. Back from the back, under the 2 strands of the stitch and under the 2 strands of the stitch at the front. And we're just going to go around and again back and 2 legs all the way until the end, until all the stitches have been sewn up. So this is called the whip stitch, but usually whip stitch goes into just the back legs or the front legs of each side, but we are using it by going through both sides of the legs. You must make sure that your seam isn't too hard. The reason is because if you're going to wear your socks in shoes, you don't want your seam to be very hard to rub on your toes. So make sure you don't pull it too tight, so it's nice and soft. Now we're just going to weave in the end. I usually go through 3 and back again, omitting 1. And that's it. Cut the yarn. Turn the sock the right way round, making sure, just to make sure that our toe is nicely rounded or squared, however you wish. I like this one. This one is very nice. If you want it to be nice, if you want it to be rounded a bit more around the corners, then insert the needle around the corners to pull it in a little bit. But I'm fine with that. When you're wearing it on your toes, it will even out nicely. So now we are ready to work our heel. So we're going to start with the sole. So we're going to start at the sole, because this is our sole part and this is the leg part. So we're going to, for a different size it was different number, but for the smaller size it was 23 stitches. So when we were separating for the heel, we made 23 chainless double crochets and we missed 23 stitches. For the heel, we are going to pick up and work 25 for the smaller size, 25 for the smaller size, 27 for the medium and 29 for the large size on each side of the heel opening. The reason we are doing more stitches because we want to cover any gaps. So if there are any stitches, we want each stitch to have a stitch basically, and if it also gives you the opportunity to cover up and fill up any gaps there might be. So that's why I not always, but sometimes try to do it a bit more when I'm working around the heel. So even though I've chained 23, I'm going to work 25 stitches. Work into the first stitch. So insert your hook into the first stitch, grab your yarn and pull it through. You can chain 1 and 1 double crochet into the very first stitch. Let me just enclose the tail. There we go. So 1, and we're going to work 25. 2. Again, they are evenly spaced. If you don't have enough, then just work 2 stitches in 1 stitch. But they should be nicely evenly spaced. Hold on, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. And I'm going to work every single one of them. So I'm going to work 1, 2, and the last one I'm going to work here. So that's my 25th. And I'm going to place my red marker on this stitch, and now again 25 evenly of the top of the leg here. here, and again into the both leg of the stitch. 1, 2. Here you go, and that's 25. Okay, and I'm going to place a green marker on the last stitch. So again, as with toes, the markers on each side are going to represent each side. So I'm going to decrease on each side of the markers. And again, as with the toes, we're going to do a plain round, then a decrease round. So our next one is going to be the decrease round followed by a plain round. So the green marker becomes now the beginning of our round. You can obviously swap them around if that's easier for you, but we're going to start with double crochet 2 together. And we're going to work 1 double crochet into every single stitch to 2 stitches before the next marker. Here we go, 2 stitches before the next marker. We're going to again double crochet 2 together, remove the marker, work that stitch, replace the marker. And again double crochet 2 together and double crochet into every single stitch to 2 stitches before the next marker. Here we go, 2 stitches, and now we're going to double crochet 2 together and then remove the marker, double crochet and replace this marker. So as with the toes, again the next round is a plain round, which means we're not decreasing. All we're going to do is just work 1 double crochet into every single stitch, moving the markers up as we work, and then followed by a decrease round. And we have to repeat those 2 rounds until we have certain amount of stitches left. There will be 22 for the small size, 26 for medium, and 30 for the large size. So I am going to do that now, and then I will show you how to sew up the heel opening. Okay, so when your heel is completed, it should look like this. So you've got a small opening here. We can remove all the markers now. Cut our yarn, giving ourselves a good length for sewing up. Pull the loop through. And again, turn our sock inside out. And again, make sure that you sew up your opening of the heel in line. You don't want to do this and sew it up this way, because otherwise it's going to be obviously not lying on your heel correctly. So you want it to be in line with your toes, you see? And now we are ready. So grab your tapestry needle. And again, as with the toes, working in whip stitch, just sew up the opening using whip stitch, going from outside, well, going from your outside in type of thing, through both legs of the stitches on each side. And let's go to this one here. Perfect. And then just weave in your ends. What I'm also, actually, I can show it to you here. What I meant on the toes, when I meant you can round up the toes a little bit. Basically, you can do this here. Go into your very last stitch here, so underneath there. Go all the way in between yarns to the other side. There we go. And then insert your needle underneath this stitch here on the edge. Pull it through. Make sure it doesn't pull too tight, it's nice and soft. And then weave in the end. That will kind of round up your edges. Yeah, it will round up your edges really nicely. And then just weave it in and cut off. Snip the end away. Turn your sock the right way round, you see, and our heel is here, and I can see, and you can see it's a little bit more rounded up around the edges here. But that's it. Your beautiful sock is now complete. So you can finish it off by blocking it. So block it by either submerging in water, then pin it out and allow it to dry naturally, or leave it on your sock blocker to dry, or give it a nice steam with an iron. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have enjoyed the video, then please do like, share and subscribe. And don't forget, the pattern is on the WYS Yorkshire Spinners website, and enjoy crocheting your socks.